Yeah, I can make that video again. It's a fascinating thought. 257,000 people all logged into this game of all games. Some are hiding their screens from their boss at work. Some are chilling on their iPad on the couch downstairs. Some are in a deep, dark basement with a $6,000 RGB-ridden gaming rig. And others aren't even at the computer where the account is playing. There's probably quite a few of those, actually. But no matter who they are, what their background is, how they're playing, everyone's logged in with the exact same goal, making some kind of number higher than it once was. 2025 was a great year for Oldschool Runescape. The concurrent player count record just kept breaking itself. I don't think too many people expected a 12-year-old re-release of a 20-year-old MMO to be doing this well. From an outsider perspective, a game that's looking like this, real outdated stuff, there's no way that this thing is growing. It doesn't make sense. But I gotta say, after doing a lot of observing, a lot of researching, a lot of talking to people, I can tell you with confidence that this growth makes perfect sense. One of the most beautiful parts about becoming an adult is appreciating the things that truly matter. For example, underwear. Today's video is sponsored by Skims. Look, I don't mess around when it comes to underwear. I have an expertly drafted checklist that needs to be hit, and Skims got a perfect score. This is the kind of underwear you put on and it makes you say, my God, this is a great pair of underwear. This stretch material is crazy, by the way. I've never felt anything this soft in my entire life, and I'd like to continue feeling it forever, I think. What? Put them on? Great now? Okay. 1 second. Okay, they're on, but you can't see them anymore, so I don't really know why you made me do that. My God, these are a great pair of underwear. Look, this underwear isn't just for athletes that run half marathons every morning, okay? I need support and comfort while I laze about at home every day, sitting in a chair for hours on end, editing videos, shopping yew trees, real important things like that. I need underwear like this. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts this season, the Skims holiday shop is now open at skims.com. Comfort is my #1 priority at all times forever, and that's where Skims comes in. You understand what I'm telling you? Click the link in the description to shop Skims Men at skims.com. After you place an order, you let them know that I sent you. Select YouTube in the survey and select my channel in the drop-down menu. A big thank you to Skims for sponsoring today's video. Many years ago, I once said something along the lines of, RuneScape is not something that you're meant to experience. RuneScape is something that's meant to experience you. And honestly, looking back at that, I'm a genius for coming up with that. I don't think I've ever said anything as smart as that since. That was straight up bars. That's crazy. You'd think that MMORPGs by definition would be a sandbox, which most of them are. But RuneScape has multiple layers, a whole lot of depth to the sandbox. Because at the surface, you've got the training of skills, the paths you can take just leveling your account, the quests that you can do, whatever order you believe is right, maybe the order that they came out or something. Which brings us to the next layer of the sandbox, rooted in player creativity, which is probably the easiest layer to see since there's mountains of evidence of this creativity. There's an unlimited amount of series that you can go and watch of someone playing the game like a lunatic, and it's amazing. it's incredible. Oldschool Runescape supplies its players with a degree of freedom that no other MMORPG could dream of. We're given these limitless possibilities, all of these paths for us to create and take. There's really two directions that players take this, embracing the freedom and rejecting the freedom. This one is the one we're most familiar with, believe it or not. It's just been this staple way of thinking about Old School that thinks about the ways that we can strip this freedom from ourselves, creating these challenges by taking away the things that the game offers you. Area restrictions, using a bank, trading other players, having one life, rejecting parts of the sandbox. On the other side, the embracing the freedom, that could just mean playing the game normally, not restricting yourself in any way, playing a main account, using the GE, doing all the content you could ever hope for in the game, and the players choose to do what they wish with it. Which brings me to a certain group of players that got to experience this type of freedom for the very first time this year. You may have heard some whispers, some rumors from 300 different YouTube videos this year. World of Warcraft players looked in the direction of old school RuneScape, specifically World of Warcraft players that have thousands of people watching them do whatever it is they're doing that day.
I promise on all 20 rank 1 titles in World of Warcraft that we got 99 wood shopping as a kid. Oh yeah, Aisa, you're in the chat. What's up? He says, I can find the stats for it. Give me a sec.
And it would be really silly for me to ignore the fact that they visited Old School this year, considering it was around the time we saw these record-breaking numbers. It revealed Old School to a lot of people that may have never seen the game before, and revealed it to returning players who maybe haven't logged in since they were visiting miniclip.com. Now, before these guys came over to our world, I visited theirs. World of Warcraft is an amazing game. I'm not making this video to compare the two games. I don't have nearly as much depth of experience as the average World of Warcraft player, like a longtime vet of the game, but diving as deep as I did while over there, I got to see a lot of insight into the gameplay loops, their objectives, how they spend their time while logged in. By no means do I think it's a bad game and, they're miserable over there all the time, but I really did want to understand why these WoW players chose Old School of all games to jump to, because at the end of the day, they're very different games, very different experiences, vertical progression, that constant gameplay loop, the content treadmill, and coming over to a game like Old School that has horizontal progression, I really didn't think that they would like it that much. And rather than go and look at all of these WoW streamers' VODs and their videos and their clips to try and see what they liked, what they didn't like, I didn't want to speculate. So I figured, why don't I just ask them? And that's exactly what I did. I reached out to as many WoW streamers as I could get a hold of, mostly the ones that experienced Old School for, anywhere from a couple weeks to a few months to, they're still playing. You could probably go to Twitch right now, see them live. And I just wanted the full context, what they experienced in the past with WoW, what they thought of RuneScape as they started playing it, what they think of it now. I actually posted every single interview I had. There's 8 of them total, 9 hours of conversation. They're all up on my second channel. You can sit through. They were awesome. Everyone who I sat down with had a ton of interesting stories, some great perspectives, some good insight into a WoW player's experience of Old School. Highly recommend checking those out if you need something to listen to. Also on Spotify, by the way. So that'll be linked in description. I kept seeing this phrase pop up. This phrase, progression matters. It was popping up everywhere. That was the reason I reached out to them in the first place, to see if that was even true. Turns out, yeah, it was true. It was absolutely true. Yeah, no, it made perfect sense to all of them.
In RuneScape, time feels like it slows down and you can just enjoy yourself. You can sweat, you can not sweat, you can kind of play however you want. World of Warcraft, the moment you log in, the time is running out.
It takes a lot of hours to grind out a full set of gear. 200, 300 hours that you spent grinding that ancestral gear. Imagine one day you just log into the game and you're like, that gear's useless. Old School RuneScape has mastered horizontal progression.
It feels meaningful. I can take breaks and I can come back and I don't feel demotivated. You can always go back and play.
They've done such a good job at making it feel rewarding, firing up people's dopamine receptors of getting a drop and then never having to farm it again. It feels good. Like they've really done a good job at managing the power creep, which I think is very surprising for how much content there is.
Having all these avenues for you to put in the hours and see the rewards feels great. The XP you earn matters. It's gotten you somewhere. You have benefited from that.
Having your progression matter forever is awesome. I don't want to say that one is completely better than the other, although I must admit I like RuneScape system better. You still need to do the old stuff to get to the new stuff. So it's like, it all matters, and that's great.
Gillinor, it's there.
Yeah.
It's just there. And you get to play how you want to play. And it's beautiful.
Our progression system works here. We'll go into it a little more later. For now, I'd like to show you one of my favorite pictures ever. That is one of my favorite pieces of RuneScape media of all time. Not just because of nostalgia or because what that dude is saying is hilarious, but because of how unapologetically old school RuneScape that image is. Old school RuneScape's aesthetic is so unique and it's so distinct. You can recognize it from a mile away. You could take a RuneScape player model and insert it anywhere, and people will instantly recognize that's a character from RuneScape. There's not any other game that really tries to be this. Even just the font. You've probably seen the RuneScape overhead font in YouTube videos that have nothing to do with old school RuneScape or anything RuneScape. And it's just amazing seeing this picture and the thing he's saying transcend way past the RuneScape community. You see buying GF everywhere, and it originated right here from some guy who probably has no idea he said that. It's the best picture ever, dude. In past video essays, I've brought up graphics a lot. First glance, old school's graphics can throw players off. These are early 2000s graphics. That's when these character models were made.
Did you guys imagine paying a subscription for a game that looks like this? I just couldn't. There's no fucking way I'm gonna pay money to play this game.
Game designers have done insane things to kind of put realism into the things we play. But I feel like when a game pushes itself for realism, the more it loses its identity. It doesn't have a unique, recognizable art style anymore. All these games are suddenly having almost identical character models. I really do think graphics just are becoming less and less relevant when it comes to a game's quality, especially MMORPGs. Systems and mechanics prioritize way higher than what the character models look like, except for maybe RuneScape 3. Those guys, they got to do something. Sorry. But I feel like once you start playing, it is so easy to just embrace the graphics. And I think the devs have done an especially good job integrating new items that fit this old school aesthetic. I think they've really mastered it. All of the items we've gotten that are put into the game, all the cosmetics, the ornaments, they fit this early 2000s medieval fantasy aesthetic, which is awesome. That's really hard to do. It's a beautiful game. And I guess, you know, even if you don't like the graphics, you've got things like GPU, 117 HD, animation smoothing if you're troubled. There's a lot of things you can customize with RuneLite and make the game look better. RuneScape's identity goes farther than just the way it looks. It's also the way that it plays. Because, you know, there's some big titles out there that have, you know, click to move, but there's not too many MMOs that have ever been anything except for WASD movement. Players might be thrown off realizing they've got to click to move. Not only that, they've got to click to do everything. They're going to be clicking more than they've ever clicked in their entire life while they're playing this. That's just how it is. If you're not used to a slight input delay, it might feel a little weird. It's running on 100 ticks per minute. You know, on a surface level, it's a very old, outdated, ugly system, but players have created something beautiful out of it. They've adopted skilling methods, taking advantage of these ticks. They've learned nifty little tricks to keep their prayer up. They've learned how to do what Port Khazard does. Well, basically only he's learned how to do that, but you can do that if you learn how the system works really well. No, you can't, but you know what I'm saying. It's crazy. And I think the story of old school RuneScape also really plays into its identity because the player character is undeniably an adventurer and nothing more, which I love about this game. That's my favorite part about this game because I feel like we resonate with that a lot as players of MMORPGs. We're just adventurers. No matter how smart we think we're being, how efficient we are at skilling, how good we are at slaying bosses, how dangerous we are in PvP, how social we are at house parties. We're all just idiots, going our own ways, creating our own paths, idiots. It doesn't matter how much you accomplish, how cool you are, because I know you've done some really weird things as an adventurer on your way there. I know that you've stomped around on citizens' rooftops for days on end in popular cities. You've chopped thousands of trees so that you could use a knife and create some sort of bow shape by the thousands and then sell it to a local shopkeep, and he bought them for some reason. You have time and time again killed a certain amount of a certain type of monster because some guy made a number up, and you listened. You just did it. Maybe you've even put on a full suit of armor, some real nice knight armor, just so that you could constantly miss a magic spell on a bird on a dock. That's weird. You're a weird guy for that. You've committed arson in the streets. You've built the same identical table hundreds of times just to immediately demolish it and build it again. You've gone fishing. You've stolen from local authorities in broad daylight. You do crazy things. You're a wacky guy. That's just what we are. We're adventurers. We do weird shit. It's a great identity. It's so recognizable. Like this thing right here. You know what that is. You know the name of it. I'll say it. It's a rune scimitar. But you knew that already. I didn't need to tell you. And chances are, at some point in your RuneScape career, that rune scimitar meant something to you, and you remembered what it was like getting it. And that's because, unlike most MMORPGs, Old School RuneScape is the absolute undisputed champion of progression. Progression's one of those parts in games where I really don't envy game developers. It's probably one of the hardest parts and the most important parts to get right, especially in an MMORPG where you're expected to draw in a player and keep them there indefinitely. Creating meaningful steps in a player's journey while also respecting their time is a grandmaster level of difficulty, and Old School really nails it. Somehow, some way, they figured out how to bring that to players. This game excels at making players feel like every step they're taking, every action, every little XP drop is meaningful. And it doesn't matter what pace you're going at, getting to a goal is getting to a goal. For example, let's take two players holding and using a rune pickaxe. That's 40 attack, 41 mining. Player A is a veteran player. They've been here dozens of times. They beeline to waterfall, they go over to fight arena, they get 40 attack just through questing without ever touching a mob, really. They bring Doric supplies to him beforehand to get 15 mining and then 3 tick iron ore all the way until 41 so that they can use a rune pickaxe. And that all happened on day 1. Many hours, but it was on day 1. And then we've got player B, who's brand new at the game. And over the course of a week, they're training all of their combat stats equally on goblins and cows for their cow hides, on the frogs in the swamp, just leisurely NPC, normal new player combat. Along with their defense and strength, they also eventually get 40 attack. They're running around the world. They mine some tin and copper, making their own bronze armor. They stumble on some coal. They mine that. Why not? Maybe some silver. They see in the Alcarid mine, and eventually they realize they've hit 41 mining. They actually have no idea what a rune pickaxe is, so they just got the level. They'll figure it out later. These players have two very different play styles, different routes, different methods, different paces, but they both ended up with the same reward of being able to hold and use a rune pickaxe. Player A took a day. Player B maybe took 2 weeks. They played the game and progressed their account. And that's a very underappreciated part of Old School. The fact that we can choose what pace we want to play at. It doesn't matter how long it takes us to reach a certain goal or how we get there. Every step you take, every action your player does, every XP drop matters. And the best part about this horizontal progression thing, if you haven't played since 2016, all of the progress you made, all the quests you've done, all the levels that you got, you would still be taking those steps if you started from square one today. The only true change between then and now is now there's just more methods for you to train things. There's more endgame content for you to access if you keep playing. And those different methods to train and that endgame content, they'll still be relevant 3-4 years from now. It made me realize that all of us on an Iron Man journey, usually somewhere along the way, grind some barrows for a little bit. We are all still engaging in what seems to be necessary 2005 content. The structure of this game makes it so that you can choose whether or not you make that pit stop, whether you grind that grind. And I think it's important to remember that there's no correct way to do anything. It was interesting watching the WoW players, how every single one of them seemed to stop at Corrupted Gauntlet and do hundreds of runs, most of them becoming very burnt out with it. And I think it's because so many people kind of engraved in their brain that they need the BOFA. They need full crystal armor. It's essential for an Iron Man. You have to do it so that you could do the rest of the content later on, which, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing thing to get on your Iron Man. Incredible, but you don't need it. You can do the content without it. If you don't want to do something on Old School RuneScape, don't do it. Even if you're not approaching content with your ideal gear, the gear you imagine getting, you can try content without the best in slot gear.
Dude, this is embarrassing. I'm the only one in Void.
But the other people have fire capes too, so it's not like totally embarrassing.
Oh, I'm not even talking about the fire cape.
Yeah, you should be more embarrassed about that.
Dude, that cape you're wearing is so pretentious, it's insane.
Should I wear a normal Inferno cape?
Just wear a fire cape and humble yourself.
It could become a little mini challenge even. There's so many ways to do. There's no right way to do anything. Just go do what you want to do. Get out there and have fun, I said.
My magma helm is in fact broken, but that's okay.
Is it okay that it's broken?
I mean, it's still on my head. Nobody knows it's broken.
Let's get in there, huh?
I'm one tick looking backwards, dude. I'm only draining prayer.
A lot of discussion over the past few years, rooted deep in philosophy, talking about whether or not Old School RuneScape is a single-player game or not. And to chime in on this, Of course it's not single player. What are you just fucking talking about? It's not single player. You can see everyone else running around. But it does turn out that pretending like the game is single player is really fun. Old school systems with the leveling up and the resource gathering and the refinement, it's built so good that the devs were able to greenlight a single player game mode option. Do you know how confident you have to be in your MMORPG systems to approve that a big chunk of the player base now approaches the entire game single player, no longer interacting with the player-driven economy? The fact that this game was able to do that and the entire economy hasn't imploded and just made an unplayable game is amazing. I'm not really a numbers guy. I don't know the inner workings of economy very well, I'll be honest. But I mean, surely approving a single player game mode on multiplayer, trading other players' servers had to come along with some risk. That's pretty cool, I think. Maybe it's not as cool as I think it is. Maybe it's not that deep, but can't imagine something like that working too well in other MMORPGs. But I guess in a way, we've kind of been approaching RuneScape as if it's single player for, as long as RuneScape's been here. You're never truly obligated to play with other players, trade with them. You could have always been playing like this. You might not even realized it. And there's tons of videos out there kind of talking about why we prefer a more single player oriented MMORPG nowadays. There's a lot of reasons, but I think personally comes down to, straight up social fatigue. You don't even need to leave your house and talk to other people in real life to feel it. You could accidentally stumble on Twitter and see some of the most horrible human interaction you've ever witnessed. Our human brains weren't meant to see the thoughts of this many people. So, I mean, that's probably why people like playing Iron Man mode. It's also rewarding. There's that part to it as well. A feeling of accomplishment alongside it. It's great that you can just play the game solo and not worry about what anyone else is doing. Like, I remember my time in WoW, I almost felt inconvenienced when I had to find a dungeon group. Like, there were multiple times I remember, needing to go to a dungeon to get an item of some sort and thinking to myself, man, I can probably solo this, right? RuneScape players are another level of antisocial, man. Like, people figured out how to solo raids just so they wouldn't have to talk to anybody. They didn't do it for the challenge of it. People learned how to solo raids just because they didn't want to talk to people that bad. It had nothing to do with an accomplishment. Dudes just really didn't want to talk to anyone. But we have it really good over here because we're able to think to ourselves, man, I really want to play that game that I like right now and do the thing that I like in that game right now. And then you can go and do it. That's a luxury, believe it or not. We have it really, really good over here. If there's one thing to take away from any of what I just said, I don't even know if any of what I just said supported the purpose of this video. I hope something did. But if there is one thing to take away from any of this, it's just some pieces of advice. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to play this game the way that you want to. And I know that sounds very cliche, it's heard it a million times, but this game serves a different purpose for everyone. And you're probably going to have a different attitude about this game at different times. For example, right now, I've been chopping yew trees on my group Iron Man for months on end. I don't know why. I just keep chopping them and fletching them into yew longbows. I can't stop. Flutton has said that it's become my real-life idol animation. The way that old ladies sit in a rocking chair knitting, that's me at the yew trees. That's my thing. I'm always there now. I don't know what to do, but I like it. I like it a lot, and I don't know why. Don't answer that. Players are constantly telling other players how to play this game. It was definitely highlighted during the WoW player thing, the backseating. I don't think any game has experienced that hard of backseating in the history of games on Twitch. That was crazy. What makes this game special is that there is no correct way to go about playing it. I don't think there's anything wrong with advocating to other players to experience the game the way that you do. But it's important to remember that some other players might find it absolutely miserable to play the game the way you do. That's how this place is built. Because look, man, I've played this game since I was in 3rd grade, and I've been making videos on and about RuneScape as a job for about 6 years now. And every other day, I stumble on some comment talking about how I hate this game, that I despise RuneScape. And they're saying that because I don't play the game the way that they do, the way that they expect me to. The easiest way to see RuneScape as something you don't enjoy is by doing the things in RuneScape that you don't enjoy. So when people say Jimmy hates RuneScape because look at his kill count, I think to myself, No, that's how I enjoy RuneScape. Look at my kill count. I don't do that stuff. If my brain isn't giving me the motivation to do something in the game, I'm not going to force myself to do it.
Something I'm trying to do on my stream is be more positive and bring awareness to the fact that there are a lot of purists that play the game that shame others for not playing the game the way that they do. This is an ever-growing problem in the MMO communities. Let people play the way they want to play and respect them.
Does Jimmy even play RuneScape, or does he just log in?
Let people play the way they want to play and respect them.
Some players work and grind for months on end to work towards an infernal cape. I grind and work for months on end to build the greatest player-owned house ever built in the history of player-owned houses. There's no way that an infernal cape will ever feel more accomplishing than what I did with this house. But I also understand that there's players who look at this house and think that means nothing. That is a stupid thing that you did, which is fine to think about. They're wrong. They're very wrong, but it's fine to think that way. That's the beauty of this game. That's the beauty of being a part of the community of Old School RuneScape, is you can like and dislike different things about the game. If you want to challenge yourself and go for an Infernal Cape, a Quiver, Radiant Oath Plate, do it. Go for a Zuck Helm. Go crazy. If that's something you want to do and work towards, then do it. Or if you don't care about that at all, then go to World 301, sit at a campfire talking nonsense with the other players that don't care about that stuff. There's no correct way to play, and you should play this game in a way that makes you happiest. And if you do that, you're going to find yourself enjoying the game for a long time. Whether you've been playing for 20 years or you're finding out about Old School RuneScape through this video somehow, there is a certain approach to this game that fits you perfectly. And ultimately, I think that is why people play RuneScape in 2025. There's so many more things that draw people to this game and keep them here. Feel free to comment, say why you are here. What's your story? I read all my comments. All of them. If you've ever commented on any of my videos, I've seen your name. Anyway, I think that's all I've got. Is it? I think that's all I have. You got anything? I don't know if you said anything, I'll be honest. It's not how time works. It's not how time and space works. I can't ask you that. I have no idea what you said. Probably didn't even reply to it out loud. This is probably the end screen. Holy shit, the video's about to end. Damn. Flew by, huh? What do you think about the